Today we're going to be talking about the fact that Honda has killed off the 10th gen Coupe Fit Accord 5-speed. And the reason why I figured I would chime in on this one is because I own a 2019 FK7, as well as the fact that I worked at a dealer from 2018 to 2019, so I saw what it was like to deal with these cars on a day-to-day as far as sales, the maintenance, and everything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you. Go ahead and click like. Click the like button before we get into this. If you guys want to help the channel out at all, hit HondaStreetGarage.com. Pick up a sticker. It really does help with these videos. And also have a Patreon. Links are in the description below. If you are a Patreon member person, you can ask me automotive questions and I will get back to you, no problem. Now let's get into the video. Before I start, I want to give a shout out to Christian from Honda Vlogs. If you don't know who Honda Vlogs is, go over to his channel, give him a subscribe. He does the weekly Honda recap, which is great. Watch it every week. You should too. And he brought this subject up and I thought it was interesting. So Honda is killing off the Coupe, and honestly, it kind of makes a lot of sense. I can tell you from a sales point that the Coupe has not sold very well. And there could be a number of reasons for that. In particular, I haven't really been happy with Honda, the way that they actually set the models up for these vehicles. You have the Coupe, the hatchback, and the sedan, of course, and you can get the SI in the Coupe and sedan. You cannot get it in the hatchback, but the Type R is a hatchback. However, you can get a sport model in the hatchback. The sport models in the sedan and coupe don't have the 1.5 turbo. They have the 2.0 non-turbo with much less horsepower. From the jump, this setup really hasn't made sense in my opinion. I think maybe they should have only dedicated the SI to the coupe, possibly, or at least offer the SI in a hatchback form. Part of the reason why I think the Coupe's sales and popularity have waned over the years is because the Civic overall has become a much bigger car. Even though the Coupe is still the flagship for the boy racer car, it didn't make sense because, first of all, the Coupe still looks like a hatchback, but it looks like a two-door hatchback, but it's not a hatchback, it has a trunk. On that level, it didn't really make a lot of sense. Also, when you buy the SI model in the Coupe, it looks funny because it doesn't have any of the side skirts or front lip or any of the stuff to kind of make it look sporty. When you look at the hatchback sport model, it looks really good. It looks really sporty. It looks almost like a Type R Lite or a baby Type R. Now, as far as the sedan has done very well, mostly because of the size of the car and its practicality. A lot of people have kind of called the new Civic basically the old school Accord. It's about that size. But of course, they did offer the sedan and the SI model. And what did you get with the SI model? You got the 1.5 turbo with 205 horsepower. You got the sunroof, Apple CarPlay touchscreen stuff, the special seats, and a push to start. However, the thing that you should know if you're possibly in the market of maybe looking at these cars, if you go with a 2020 hatchback sport, it actually comes with the Apple CarPlay, push to start. They've actually switched out all of the door fabric and armrest fabric to the leather, so it's overall a much more comfortable car. So the sport model just doesn't get the special SI seats or the sunroof. That's it. It does have 20 less horsepower, but honestly, when you drive these cars, that amount of horsepower doesn't really seem to matter. And I'm gonna explain why. Most of the power band for these cars is between 3,500 to 5,500 as far as like where the bulk of the power band is. Also, one of the other features about driving a 6-speed model, one of these cars, is the fact that the flywheel is a dual mass, very heavy flywheel. So if you do drive one of these cars, one of the biggest complaints is, oh, it's got rev hang. It doesn't feel zippy. But I can say that as somebody who has lived with the FK7 for a year and a half now, drives like a dream. It's that heavy dual mass flywheel just makes the car really comfortable to drive, oddly enough. And I know, of course, everybody wants the Type R, but when I was looking, the Type Rs just weren't as available as they are now. It seems like the Type Rs are a little easier to get a hold of now. That being said, if the Type R is way out of your budget, I personally suggest going with the 2020 hatchback sport model. One of the other reasons why the hatchback sport just worked is because they went ahead and gave it the Type R window trim, so it's blacked out around the windows. And then when you see the Coupe SI and the sedan SI, they have the chrome strip around the windows. And I know that might seem like a small thing, but from a visual standpoint, it doesn't make sense when you look at it. But when you see the hatchback sport and it's got that black trim around the windows, it's got the blacked out side skirts, little front lip and rear lip, lip that kind of poke out a little bit. It all just works and it looks great. I think we can all agree that the hatchbacks out of all of them kind of maybe look the best. It definitely has some wild styling to it. To me, the 4-door is a little too long looking, but overall the hatchback is a phenomenal car. I really can't say enough good things about it. You sit really low in the seat position. It handles phenomenally. I've never driven the car and thought this car doesn't have enough power to get around. I have driven the Sport Coupe and the Sport Sedan and they feel really slow. They have the 2.0 153 horsepower engine. So what does this mean going forward? They're getting rid of the coupe entirely. They're skipping the SI for 2021, which makes sense because it's the last year before they introduced a new body style. And I think for 2022, they will bring the SI back, probably in the hatchback form, because working at a dealership, they struggled to sell the SIs. And the reason why is the coupe SIs were 2-door. They came in weird colors. They just did. The energy green and the acid yellow, like some of the colors for the coupes really kind of, As far as the sedan SI, you know, a lot of people would look at the sedan SI and be like, oh, I like this. Can you get it in automatic? And they'd be like, no. It really made sense to kind of put all the sportiness into the hatchback. It's a great utilitarian car. The Type R is what it is, and I think they should make the SI in the hatchback as well. People didn't want the 2-door overall, even if it was an SI. So it makes sense to let it go. 4-door as an SI, you were only buying it because you didn't like the coupe and they didn't offer it in a hatchback. So that's why you got the 4-door SI. For me, personally, I chose the hatchback just because it looked overall better. And when I drove either or, that 20 horsepower didn't seem enough for me to really care to pay that extra money for the SI. Because the SIs are right around $25,000, $26,000. There is the hatchback touring model, and for 2020, they did offer it in a 6-speed transmission. And really what it is, it's just a sport model with a sunroof and heated seats. And it's like $28,000, $29,000, and it doesn't make sense when you can get a Sport for 22. I think Honda is going to trim back the fat as far as the Civic lineup is concerned. Now, my other big heartbreak about this whole thing is the fact that they are killing off the Fit. The Fit was my favorite current Honda, and I really wanted a Fit Sport 6-speed in any color. I didn't care. I just wanted one. And at the time of buying my new car, there was none available. No 6-speeds available. This is a fun statistic. There are more Civic Type Rs than there are Honda Fit Sport 6-speed. So the Honda Fit Sport 6-speed is more rare, probably the most Honda is what a lot of people say. You know, it's smaller, it's more nimble, definitely a little bit more noise going on. But again, it's a phenomenal car. They handle amazing. I really wanted one. 3 months after I bought my FK7, a white Honda Fit Sport 6-speed showed up at the dealer, and I was so mad. But I really think Honda has missed the boat with one car that they've never made, and they really need to make it. They made this, it would sell everywhere, all across the world. I swear, the sales would go through the roof. They should have made a 3rd generation Honda Fit Type R, and they would put the 1.5 L15 B7 into it. And they could have just used the sport body, just put that engine in there, maybe a little bit bigger brakes or something, and it would have been the best Type R of all time, in my opinion. Of course, the FK8 is phenomenal. They really are. They're comfortable, they're fun. Can't say enough good things about the FK8 either. So I'm really upset that the Fit is kind of gone, but they may bring the Fit back. I just know that the new Honda Fit body style is kind of weird, and I don't think the American market is really gonna dig it, and I think Honda knows that, and that's the reason why they're killing off the Fit. I really think they could have done maybe a coupe version of the Fit, redesigned it, you know, get rid of the hatchback, make it, you know, I don't know. To me, I think the Fit had more potential for sportiness because the Civics really have gotten so big and heavy. You know, my FK7 is like somewhere around 2,700 pounds, almost 28, I think, for the touring. I'm also upset the fact that the Accord 2.0 6-speed is gone. I think the 1.5 Accord 6-speed is now gone. They stopped production back in December of the Accord 2.0 6-speed. Every time one of those showed up on the lot, it was sold. Like, so there was a demand and a market for that thing. But again, the best Hondas don't always sell well when they're new at the dealer. The NSX Type R didn't sell. With all that in mind, I'm hoping that Honda will push forward into a better direction, kind of tighten their lineup a little bit, maybe bring back something like a Fit or Jazz or whatever, and do a Type R version of that, because that to me is more Honda. It's lightweight, strong motor, whatever. And they'll just put an SI model as far as the hatchback. I've thought about in the future selling my FK7, and what would I get then? I can tell you this, I'm not into SUVs, even though the American market is in love with them, and Honda just wants to keep making SUVs. I don't really understand why Honda keeps the HRV. A lot of people have complained about the HRV. We saw so many HRVs get bought and sold and brought back 6 months to a year later. People just like, it's just not enough power. It's too slow. Some people love them. I think they're great looking, but they need a 1.5 turbo. The CRVs are great, of course, but again, they're expensive. And I really hope in the future for 2022, the next body style, they'll offer a Civic Hatchback SI. That would be cool, because the great thing about these cars is you can plug in Honda right off the rip. You're adding a lot more power. The great thing about when you buy the aftermarket stuff for the FK7s, FK8s, and all that stuff, the downpipes, intercoolers, turbo upgrades, they actually have reflash maps already ready. You can download and just upload and go. And instead of having to go to a dyno tune every time you need to change something. I think that's a really great thing that's happening within the scene. But I do believe that the L15B7 is the engine of the future. It's replacing the K series. I've not made it a secret that in the future I would love to get a hold of a fit and do a L15B7 swap, or even pull my K20 out of the Integra and put a L15B7 swap in there. Those motors are so good, such a great platform. I cannot say enough great things about the FK7. I've put 30,000 miles on my FK7 in a very short amount of time, in a year and a half. It hasn't given me one problem, not one issue. I enjoy every time that I get into it. Anyway, I know this is a long ranting video. What do you guys think Honda should do? Are you sad about the Coupe dying? Are you happy that it's dying? Do you think the four-door SI was even worth it? Should they have made a hatchback SI? Why is the Coupe and the sedan sport have the 2.0 but the hatchback have the 1.5? Like, a lot of things about the lineup in the 10th gen didn't make sense, I guess, for the American market. We can all be glad that the FK8 is here, and it will for a long time be one of the greatest Hondas ever made. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and sitting me blah 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 through this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you want to support the channel, hit HondaStreetGarage.com, hit the Patreon. Links are in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. G.